So the Falcons and the who they play? The Packers.
Yeah.
So that's already forgettable. There's again, we go down the same road of fire Mike McCarthy. I think there's even more evidence, and I don't understand how he hasn't been relieved of his job yet. Dom Capers continues to set records as a defensive coordinator, and by that I mean he gives up. This is in back-to-back years. He gave up 350 total yards to Colin Kaepernick on the ground, which I find remarkable because you watched it happen, and then you let it happen again, and now he let Julio Jones, which to my biggest takeaway from this, I get the idea that Julio Jones is an elite, if not the best wide receiver in football. I understand that completely. How you allow him to get 5 yards of complete open space around you is different than having a guy within the general vicinity of Julio Jones.
Okay, here's why I'm gonna give everybody a pass on that, although I don't disagree with you in general about Capers. The Packers secondary, those guys aren't supposed to be starters. Like
There's two rookies, I believe.
Yeah, I mean they are down players and they are playing the league's elite passing offense at home. You just can't. It's not. You're overmatched.
No way.
That's why I love the Falcons in that game. Oddly enough, I only bet them in a tease with the Steelers somehow. So yes, I mean, but it's the same. You know, look, you weren't around in the '80s, right?
No, I was 91.
But Jerry Rice, when Joe Montana was there, like Jerry Rice is the best football player ever, right? And Joe Montana is the one of the 3 best quarterbacks I've ever seen. Like I think Rodgers, Brady, and Montana. That's what I think. That's your top.
Yeah, no, that's
3. Maybe Manning if you don't count the second playoff game.
I argue with Cenk about
that. So anyway, whatever it is, Montana in that top tier of the top 5 quarterbacks I've ever seen. And Jerry Rice, greatest player I've ever in my lifetime. And he would be at the line of scrimmage, and there would be like a cornerback or a DB 10 yards deep, and he would run downfield like 14 yards and stop. And then they'd throw to him. And you'd be like, what's happening? Like, you know he's the best player. That's the best quarter. Why are we? What scheme is this where you just let Jerry Rice and there'd be no move? He just like catch, then keep running, touchdown. Right. So I got it. So sometimes like we don't see it, but they got a scheme in football, and it's I suspect to protect having incredibly exposed players exposed in their worst possible way. But it did seem strange. That said, my Turk of the week is Julio Jones because so often in Turk we look for at least I do, like a weird guy who did one weird play or one coach who made a
Taylor Gabriel jumping on the fumble that could have been the Packers. Right.
Taylor Gabriel's drop was one of the great drops ever in that first drive because it looked like a volleyball spike. It looked like he was like, no! And then he fell down. It was great. But he didn't even recover that fumble. That was huge. But Julio Jones, because it wasn't just the seemingly otherworldly touchdown of the catch, the dispensing of the first guy, the dispensing of the second guy, the staying in bounds, maintaining, right, all of those amazing things that Julio Jones did. It was twice. It was twice when we don't give credit to guys like Julio Jones for on 3rd and 7 and Julio Jones making a catch and making sure that he got 7.01 yards. Like he knows everything about the game. He knows everything. He's incredible.
Awareness.
He's got incredible awareness. He's incredibly smart, incredibly thoughtful, and can do the thing where he changes the nature of the game with his athleticism. But he's not just an athlete. He's an incredibly smart player.
And he steps up at the right time. So one of the things, if you look at Julio Jones, there's a bad take about Julio Jones that he tends to disappear in certain games that probably don't matter as much in the regular season, obviously. But when it comes to the NFC Championship game, I think I have the tweet from ESPN. It's element number 3. In 2012, he did this exact same thing where he had 150 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, you're talking about, I get the highest scoring offense in the NFL this year, but you're also talking about the guy who's responsible for 35% of that offense.
Doesn't mean he's the best fantasy player.
I thought to me, when it comes to the playoffs, I put fantasy aside.
No, I'm just saying, like Antonio Brown might rack up some more yards and more catches, and that offense uses him in a. But Julio Jones, if you, again, just to me, one receiver, one game, especially when you factor in everything else, he's never going to do something dumb, ever, right?
So, I think Dan Quinn is the Turk. I think we talk about, and I have this head coaching record, which is kind of meaningless because it's such a small sample size, but we talk about a lot coaching decisions. how to coach, why to coach, when to coach, where to coach, constantly. This whole first segment was about
where to coach.
Where to coach.
I think where the game
why
is.
to coach.
That's why
you should coach there. Sometimes though, you've seen head coaches that are in La La Land completely. But Dan Quinn took over this team and went 8-8 in his first year, but then made some. And the GM deserves a lot of credit, as Dan has said since preseason week 2. Alex Mack is the MVP of that team, and they put together like the highest scoring offense this season. And Dan Quinn has seemingly been a great fit. Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit. He's probably walking out the door for a new head coaching job by the end of this. I would think after the Super Bowl.
I would have thought that Shanahan would wait and take an NFL job, but
Did he take a college job?
No, it's a Niners joke.
It's a Niners joke. Is this 80s football still? Can we come back to 2017? But look, man, Dan.
But no, they're terrible.
I think I have his. I think I have his record. I could be wrong. Number 4, element number 4. It's because it has to do with the fact that he took over for. I had to remind myself why Mike Smith was a bad coach. You look at the numbers, you go, oh, it was a pretty good winning percentage. Just continuously lost in the divisional round in the championship game.
Yeah, there were some really dumb decisions by Mike Smith. By the way, one of those dumb decisions was not what I thought was a great call of going for it on 4th and 1 in overtime against the Saints from his own 29, because he recognized, again, the way that game was going, right. I give the ball to Drew Brees,
it's a bad idea.
We lose.
Yeah.
And if I give it to him on the 29 or I punt it away and give it to him on the opposite 29, we're in trouble. And so he went for it and didn't get it and got vilified. But I liked that call, but I was the time to fire Mike Smith had arrived. Yeah.
Had arrived. And look, I think Dan Quinn is going to be he'll do okay in the Super Bowl. But I want to get to this point. I think the Patriots blow out the Falcons. And I want to get this point now because my goal for the next 2 weeks is to starting tomorrow just not talk about the Super Bowl, because I think there's the oversaturation for someone who talks about politics on a daily basis, or at least weekly basis. Oversaturation of certain news coverage and Super Bowl media day. I think the dumbest day.
I think it's a strange time to choose to stop talking about the NFL.
Not stop. Okay, I'll take that back. Not stop, but dial it back. There's no reason why we need to talk about 6 different keys to victory for why Tom Brady is going to throw for 207 yards compared to 218 yards, which he did in 2003.
Yeah, you know what you should do? Like during Media Week, you should do an incredibly dumb Media Week moment.
I also want to I look forward to this. J.R. Jackson, who geographically grew up closer to Atlanta than I did, is now
you grew up in St. Louis?
Diehard, geographically closer.
But I mean, yeah, but
just let me finish the point. Because of that, it's going to fit into the fact that because he was he gets to bandwagon the Falcons, and how much he loves the Patriots, sarcastically speaking. We're going to put him on.
Are you certain that the Jersey is further from Atlanta than St. Louis?
I'm really banking on it being.
Yeah, I don't. There is an answer.
Close. Here's the funny thing: because you're 1-9 in the playoffs,
yeah.
I think I can make you 1-10.
All right, I'll go $5 right now. That's.
But I think you need. First of all,
you think that
northern New Jersey, Morristown is where you would be the closest city. So you let me know what that is. Look, and I think you're going to be all about the Falcons because you wanted to mention the fact that if the Falcons win, they don't go to the White House.
Hang on. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, we're going to settle this bet. Morristown, New Jersey to Atlanta.
Yeah.
857.9 miles.
Feel pretty good
Take
about
you 12 hours and 44 minutes.
I don't know if I feel so good about this one.
So that's
800. How many miles?
857.9.
This could be close.
857.9 and St. Louis.
Let's go with 772
to Atlanta. Those are flights.
How much it cost?
553. There you go. Congratulations.
Covered. 1-10. The Falcons win. They don't go to the White House.
No. First of all, I
didn't bet you anything.
Yeah, I said $5.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, didn't I?
God, look at you, man.
I think it's on tape.
It's on tape.
So I can't bear, like every civilized American, I can't bear to see Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And I like Tom Brady. I got no beef. I mean, he's great. I love his fire. I did, but I can't and I shouldn't care about the politics of NFL quarterbacks and coaches, but I do. I do now. I didn't used to. I used to be able to live with it. But I mean, the decision, at least from Belichick, at least Brady may have had Trump betray him, right? Brady may have called, and Trump was like, "He told me I could say it," and Brady was like, "No, I didn't."
The press conference, Brady did mention. He said, "My wife said I'm not allowed to talk about politics."
Yeah. So at least that reflects a degree of awareness. Belichick writing that letter. again, that letter looked like it was written by Trump's doctor. I can't believe.
Trump's doctor? Ben Carson?
No, Trump's doctor. You remember Trump's doctor with the crazy letter that said he was the fittest president ever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I do.
The guy was he's a quack, and the letter seemed like it was written by Trump. It seemed incompetent. And Kraft, although Kraft is given to Democrats in the past, we know that Bob Kraft is close to Donald Trump. I'm less bothered by people who are friends with Donald Trump because it's your friend and you knew him and you play golf with him.
With either the money going or actual support.
But that said, and I like Belichick and his gutsiness and his he's the greatest coach there is in football. Yeah, but that said, I don't want to see them go to the White House. I can't bear it, and I want the Falcons to win and go to John Lewis's office.
One of my sisters went to Boston College. They used to go up and watch BC football when Matt Ryan was the quarterback there. So same time as Matthias Kiwanuka and a couple. It was a good team.
His wife was the point guard on the basketball team.
Well, BC basketball team, right?
And they're adorable.
They are. No, he's like, I've gotten to meet Matt a couple of times. I met Matt Ryan, but when he was in college, and just way mature beyond his years for somebody.
So, he came out here, he had his worst season last year, and then his best season this year, and he came out in the offseason here to Southern California and worked with Tom House at USC, or I don't know if Tom is still at USC, but, with the sort of quarterback throwing, Tom House sort of, taught people how to pitch for years, and he also works with quarterbacks. And I would say it made a difference. The difference now was to throw to space instead of people. Interesting. That's a massive simplification of what they worked on.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It makes sense, especially when you watch. If you throw to space, Julio Jones will catch space.
Right, that's the
any which way direction.
Anyway, look. If you care about America, you'll be rooting for the Falcons. It's that simple.
I guess I don't. I guess according to this logic, I don't like America.
And of course, I will be. My money will be. will be in the same place.
I really want you to bet on the Patriots.
Can you imagine the Falcons going to John Lewis's office instead of the White House? It's the greatest idea ever.
That's good. It's up there.
Ever. Also, I'm done making fun of Atlanta after this last. I'm done.
Did you watch the show?
No, not yet, and I will. I will watch the show, and I will like it no matter what.
Yes. No. I think you will like it no matter what. It's a great show.
Right,
comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. Let us know your Turks and jerks of the NFC and AFC Championship games. Bet the Patriots. By God, it's -3. Bet them -7. Bet at -12.
Falcons are going to win this game.
Or be like Ben and end up waiting to the day of and then taking a teaser for the Patriots +4.
Jeff Pearlman was kidding, but I have the final score. It's going through my head.
It is?
67-7.